Georgia Dome on Sunday, and that's exactly what the fans got. Former Saints quarterback Bobby Hebert was ready in case he had to go in, but it was Saints quarterback Wade Wilson who stole the show early on. Wilson threw 3 touchdown passes to lead the Saints to a 31-10 lead. The thousands of Saints fans who made the trip to Atlanta chanted the team's new battle cry. But the game was about to change. Hebert came in and sparked the Falcons, hitting Mike Haynes with a 98-yard touchdown pass in the 4th quarter. 98 yards! Hebert led the Falcons to a 31-31 tie. The momentum had turned the way of the Falcons. But Ronaldo Turnbull of the Saints would switch it back New Orleans' way.
And that will give Anderson another crack.
That set up Morton Anderson's last-second field goal to win it. Saints 34, Falcons 31. The Saints go to 2-0 on the year. Said it all, folks. What a game. Wow, Saints fans, like you guys were sweating this one out, and I think the head coach may have been sweating a little bit there, but it ended up all right. Let's get this show started out by bringing out the head coach of the Saints, Jim Mora. Jim. All right, buddy. Good to see you. There it is. What?
Who started this?
That seems to be the latest among
I don't even know what they're saying yet. What are they
That's
saying?
a song that was put out by a couple of rap groups.
Oh, really?
There it is.
Whoop,
Kind of
there it is. Good, I like that.
Sort of caught on amongst the
I like
NFL
that. That's
fans. And here we are, another happy crowd as usual. The Saints and Falcons always seem to play this kind of exciting, down-to-the-last-second game, Jim. Sunday was no different.
I thought it was going to be for a while, but it turned out to be the same kind of game we've had with these guys over the years, even before I came here. They used to have some wild ones and games that were decided on the last play of the game, and it's been this way for the last 7 or 8 years, and probably be this way for the next 25 or 30.
Yeah. Your team took a 31-10 lead, Jim. I know you were pleased with that, but when the Falcons came back and tied it at 31, were there things that you needed to do better later on in the season?
Well, yeah, you'd like to think that you know, you could hold on to a 3-touchdown lead, and yet I think that you know you're not going to hold an offense like that in check for 60 minutes. I think that the thing that was most disturbing to me was, you know, the one play where they went 98 yards in one play for the score. You know that you're going to give up some yards and maybe some points, but you feel pretty good with a 3-touchdown lead. But, you know, in one play to get 7, that's tough to swallow, and I think that's the thing that we've got to try to do better.
All right, we'll take a look at all that we just talked about. We're just getting started here. Lots of highlights from this one. Stay with us. We'll take a look coming up next.
The coach reveals the turning point and hear the other side's opinion of our New Orleans Saints.
If you watch that game on Sunday, you got excitement, you got a great comeback led by a Louisiana Falcon, and then you got a Saints win. Jim, let's take a look at the action against Atlanta. First, Lorenzo Neal here. First play from scrimmage for the offense, and he takes it.
Well, this was, you know, a play like I haven't never seen before. I mean, this was an awesome play. I mean, great effort on his part to come out of that stack and go for the touchdown. I thought it was just a tremendous play, and it got us going on the right track, you know, got us going quickly.
Right, then Morton Anderson came in and he broke the NFL record. 25 field goals in a row. That made the score 10-0. Then the Falcons came back to score. Eric Pegram will get a touchdown to make it 10-7. He gets over here. I think he recovered his own fumble.
Right, he fumbled the ball there, I think, before he crossed the goal line, and then he recovered it for the touchdown.
All right, and then the Saints came back. Wade Wilson to Quinn Early for the first time.
Right, this was just a great throw by Wade Wilson because there wasn't a lot of margin for error there because they really had good coverage on Quinn.
All right, that made it 17-7. Saints getting some pressure on Chris Miller. Ricky Jackson sacks him.
Right, Chris was running a bootleg, and Ricky had the contain over there and did his job and did it well.
That set up another Wilson Early connection.
Another great throw, you know, pretty good coverage, but Quinn had his guy beat by about a step, and Wade threw it in there.
It was 24-10 at the half, Jim. In the locker room at the half, were you thinking, with the way the game was going, that you may see Bobby Hebert in the second half? Did that enter your mind at all?
Not really. You know, I didn't think that they'd start in the second half, and I really didn't think about it. I didn't start thinking about it until later on in the third quarter when they continued to struggle offensively.
Okay, well, Hebert, as we know, did get in the game. The game story took a real twist at that point. Let's go to breakdown number 2 in the second half. The Saints scored again in the second half. Wilson went to the tight end, Irv Smith, for this touchdown.
Right. It was 3rd and 1. We tried 2 running plays and had not succeeded. So we called this pass play, and really Irv was kind of the second receiver or third receiver to go to, and Wade made a nice decision and a good throw.
Bad news here, Jim. This is Lorenzo Neal breaking his ankle here.
Right. Lorenzo did break his ankle here and tore a ligament, and he had surgery today, and he's out for the season, which is a real loss to our football team.
That's very bad news. Now the Saints still making it hard on Chris Miller. Wayne Martin got in the sack there, and then Bobby Hebert came in the fourth quarter, threw 3 touchdown passes. This one to Michael Haynes. You talked about it, the 98-yarder.
Yeah, you know, you get them backed up to their 2-yard line, and you'd like to think that no matter what, they're either not going to get any points or take them a long time to get down there and use up a lot of clock time, but they struck quickly, and that hurt.
Yeah, and then another touchdown to Mike Pritchett made it 31-31, new game. The Saints with a chance to win it in the last minute, but Morton, a rare miss, a 50-yarder here, didn't get it.
No, you know, people don't realize the pressure he's been under all week, you know, with that record looming in front of him, but anyway, he came back, as we'll see here in a minute.
He certainly did, because Turnbull made the big strip there, and then Morton kicked the game winner. Saints get out of there with a winner. 2-0 now on the season.
Right. It's a great win for us. I'm telling you, great win. I don't care how it happened. We got more points than they did, and that's what's important.
I see you watching the field goal there, and then...
No, I was not worried at all.
Stuffing high fives with Wade Wilson.
I know it.
Who will be here a little bit later. Coach, let's take a look at the turning point right now.
I thought the turning point, now usually the turning points are in our favor. I think this is the first time since we've been doing this show, Lionel, that it was for the other guys. But to me, that was the turning point of the game. It got them back in the game quickly. It went from a 2-touchdown lead to a 1-touchdown lead with a lot of time left. And that, you know, they got them thinking, hey, we can win this thing. You know, we got a lot of time. And it was a big play that hurt us and a big play for them.
Okay, now Bobby Hebert, as you see, had an incredible game. Yet the Saints still able to overcome that and win. Let's go now to the other side, the opposing locker room, and hear what Hebert and the Falcons thought about things.
Bobby, he's a good quarterback. I mean, he's beaten us a few times. So, you know, he came in and he just got the job done.
I usually don't get 2 and 5. I kind of like, hey, you scored, so that's what you're supposed to do. And I'm not, you know, a rah-rah guy, look at the crowd and, you know, do like this or anything, you know, just because, like, hey, that's what, you know, you're supposed to do is score and win. But it was kind of like, man, this is a great play.
It seems like when in this series, these kind of games happen a lot.
I've been in every one, too, unfortunately, and we're on the losing side of this one. Great football game for the fans. We've got to give our team a lot of credit for showing a lot of heart to put themselves in position to win the football game. It just didn't work out for us.
The Saints, man, they played a great game. You look, they controlled the tempo like they always want to do. Wade played a great game. Defensively, you know, Coach Sidwell's could do a great job with the defense. And, you know, I tell you what, the Saints, you know, don't look like they missed me or Pat or anybody. I mean, you know, Coach Mora, they always have had a lot of depth, and they're going to play well as a team, and you know, they're just always going to be a quality team in the NFL.
Sounds like Bobby still respects and admires the Saints team, Jim.
Well, I think he does, and I know our players and coaches respect Bobby a lot. The feeling is strong both ways, I think.
All right, coming up, we'll take our first trip out to the Grand Casino and hear from some fans who are in the Atlanta for the game.
When we return, we'll visit fans in the stand.
Hey, Coach, are the players instructed not to speak to the fans?
Well, they really don't have an opportunity to speak to the fans. You're probably talking about before the game, you know, these guys are out there to focus in and concentrate on getting ready to play the game, and I think it would be a little distracting if they spent a lot of time talking to the fans. Their job is to get warmed up, get ready to play.
All right, more questions on Hey Coach.
Hey, Coach, now that our receivers are established, do you think we're going to throw the long ball more this year?
Well, I think we're throwing it pretty well right now. You know, we're averaging, we got a good yards per attempt average, and we've only played 2 games, so there's a lot more to go. But I don't care how we get in the end zone, just as long as we get there.
All right, more questions for the coach.
Hey, Coach, since Bobby Hebert is on the Falcons team, and or if any other player is traded to another team, how much do we have to change our either plays or assignments to facilitate their knowledge of our background and so forth?
Well, the only adjustment we really made for the game yesterday was we sent in more plays offensively with players as opposed to signaling them in, because we didn't want Bobby to be picking up on the signals as to whether it was a run or a pass and that type of thing, and giving that information to the defensive coaches. So what we did was send more plays in with players, which they, you know, there's no way they can figure out what we're calling.
Another question for you, Jim.
Hey, Coach Mora, how does it feel to know that you're going to come back for the Super Bowl here?
If you can guarantee that, I'll feel real good.
Super Bowl is in the Georgia Dome in Atlanta this year.
Yeah, I know. I knew that.
No, I wasn't telling you. I was just saying that's why.
No, I know that, yeah.
That's why you said come back again for the second time.
That'd be good.
I would like to see that, too. It means we'd have more shows to do here.
Oh, that'd be great.
Would
Yeah, that'd be the...
No. So, Jim, every week we do something called Coach's Handbook. It's a chance for your assistant coaches to explain football terminology. This week, our Brian Grenrud got with offensive coordinator Carl Smith to talk about the shotgun.
This week on the Coach's Handbook, we're going to talk about the shotgun. Let's go break down the film. With us this week to talk about the shotgun is Saints offensive coordinator Carl Smith. And, Coach, exactly what is a shotgun?
Well, Brian, the shotgun is just a word they use when the quarterback is back behind the center 4 or 5 yards, and he takes a short snap from the center. You see Wade Wilson here. This is some preseason footage. Takes the snap and throws the ball there to Derek Brown.
Gives the quarterback more time to see the receivers. Is that the point? And more time so it doesn't get sacked?
I think that's right. I'll go with that, Brian. He gets farther away from the rush, and sometimes it's an advantage and sometimes it's a disadvantage, but that's the good part.
How can it be a disadvantage?
Well, the snap. We've got to be careful that we get the snap handled and caught every time during the season. And then the next disadvantage is sometimes you don't get the laces like you do from under the center. You don't have the laces, and if you have to make an immediate throw, sometimes we're throwing the ball without having the laces.
All right, Coach, thanks a lot, and we'll see you next week on the Coach's Handbook.
All right, thank you, Brian. Jim, are you using the shotgun any more this year with Wade Wilson than you did in the past?
Not really. It's mostly an obvious passing situation, and we're using it about the same amount of time.
All right, as we've seen, Wade Wilson, though, had the best game of any Saints quarterback. He totaled 392 total yards of offense, a new record for the Saints. Wade is here to talk about that when we come back.
Coming up next on the Jim Mora Show, a profile of New Orleans native and Saints rookie, punt returner Tyrone Hughes.
Welcome back to the show. Our player guest tonight helped the Saints to a record day offensively. As quarterback, he directed the Saints to 557 yards of total offense. Not bad at all. Welcome, if you will, number 18, Wade Wilson. That's right. He's here. First of all, Wade, everybody knows here playing for the Falcons. I talked with Jerry Glanville last week in Atlanta. He said he hated to let you go, and I guess now he really feels bad about it. But tell us how you felt going in there and playing against the Falcons.
Well, there was a lot of anxiety and a lot of excitement going back to Atlanta because I know those guys so well, and having played there last year, I got to figure out firsthand what the rivalry's like between the two teams, so that made it extra special as well.
Now, you did not hesitate to go deep, spread the ball around. Eric Martin, Quinn Early, Hobie, Patrick Newman, Irv Smith all caught balls. Looks like you knew what was going on in the offense. Do you feel a lot better? I know in training camp you said one of the things you needed to do was just learn.
Yeah, I do. I felt, you know, having played in 5 preseason games and getting extended playing time in the last 2 really helped get familiar with not only the offense but the players and them get familiar with myself. So I think that having those extra games definitely helped.
All right, let's look at some tape now. You found Quinn Early for 2 touchdown passes. He got a step behind and you put the ball where only he could catch it. Talk about these plays.
Well, this was the first one, the long one, was definitely a new play that we put in strictly to take advantage of the Atlanta offense. So a lot of credit has to go to Carl and the offensive staff, and he made a good catch. We were just trying to get him deep over the post, and this one here is just man-to-man coverage. You got to step on him, just lay it out for him, and let him use his athletic ability. So, you know, like those matchups.
You got to love it when the receiver gets one-on-one. You also hit Irv Smith with a touchdown.
Yeah, this one might have made my heart skip a little bit of a beat when Jeff Donaldson standing there and Dombrowski came back and told me that he could have caught the pass. So that's a little too close there, I guess.
Not only did you hurt the Falcons through the air, Wade, but you also scrambled for 51 yards, including a long one, 44 yards. Tell us about this run you made in the game.
Well, I don't know. I think this is out of fear more than anything, but it's not something you want to build a game plan around every week, that's for sure. But it was man-to-man coverage, and I broke through the line of scrimmage, and everybody was basically on the other side of the field, and I think they said that they misjudged my speed. I'm a lot slower than I really look. So, you know, it's just one of those lucky breaks, I think.
The running game with Derek Bryan and Lorenzo Neal was really working. Now with Lorenzo out for the year, that'll hurt, though.
Well, it will, but I mean, you know, the thing about this team is somebody's gone down, somebody else has stepped up and take their spot. So, you know, it's a big loss for us to lose those guys, but I look for, you know, not to skip a beat and somebody to step up and take over.
Wait, let me ask you this question. Bobby Hebert came in and had a whale of a game. Now, as a quarterback, when something like that happens, do you feel that he would deserve to start the next week?
Well, I really do. I think that if it was just a one-time thing where Chris had struggled a little bit, then I think that maybe they'd go back with Chris. But he struggled a little bit against Detroit and then struggled against us, and I think the team maybe responded real well to Bobby, so I think that he deserves a chance to start this week.
All right, Wade, we'll be back to you in a few minutes. Thanks for coming down to the show. For being here, Wade Wilson gets a gift certificate from Oakland Hart Jewelers on Metairie Road. Now, time for Jim Gallagher's Snapshot. The Saints' 93 draft looks like it could become one of the best in team history, if not the best. This week, Jim profiles a New Orleanian who's part of the class of 93.
When Tyrone Hughes walked onto the field last Sunday in the Superdome, it was a moment he'll long remember. He grew up playing in the Dome as an all-state player at St. Aug, thinking that one day he'd have an NFL career.
Playing at home, first of all, you know, that was exciting, and then just being in the NFL.
Arthur, you had to be really excited about Sunday's game because it was the regular season finally.
I was very excited having, you know, that he was home, and seeing the pre-games was not as nerve-wracking to me as the real game.
While Tyrone never really dreamed of playing for the Saints, his family certainly did. Parents Arthur and Anita Hughes are now bursting with pride.
Very proud of him. And he did it. He did it on his own as far as the incentive of playing football, getting his own scholarship, going through college, and then preparing himself with the help of the good Lord for the draft.
Both Arthur and Anita are college graduates, and they stress education to all 4 of the Hughes children. Tyrone graduated from Nebraska with his degree last year and followed in a long family tradition.
It is a nice accomplishment. My wife and I both struggled through, you know, working our way through college. We didn't have any kind of handouts. For me, it was work and school, work and school.
Tyrone's father and his older brother Arthur Jr. were in the stands for Ty's first pro game last Sunday.
He doesn't like the fair catcher, huh?
It's good having him home. He's been away from home for about 5 years, and he's the fun person in the house. He keeps us on our toes. Well, he told me that count my blessings because he could have been twins.
Is that true?
I don't know if we would have laughed if he was twins.
The way he's performed as a rookie so far, you can't blame Saints fans for wishing they had Tyrone's twin on the roster also. For the Jim Mora Show, I'm Jim Gallagher.
All right, thanks, Jim. Now, Jim, he came close a couple of times in Sunday's game to popping a kickoff and a punt return as well. Excitement.
Yeah, I think he's just going to get better and better as he gets a better feel back there in both punt returner and a kickoff returner. I think he's going to be a real addition to our football team in those areas.
All right, it's about time to get to our fans here in the studio now, and those at the Grand Casino in Gulfport. We'll do that after this commercial break. Harahan, what's your primary concern going into next Sunday's game against Detroit?
Well, we're going to, face a little different offense this week than we have the first 2 weeks, and so we really haven't defensively, prepared for more of a normal type offense. But I think this is a team that's got one of the best running backs in the league, Barry Sanders, who can break one on you at any time. They got a real good defense that just did a great job against the team we played yesterday, a week ago, Atlanta. And then they've got one of the better kick returners in the game, Mel Gray. So they got some big play people on offense and special teams and a very much improved and tough defense. So, it's going to be a tough opponent for us.
James Thibodeau, Kenner, Louisiana. Coach, how do you remain so calm during games such as yesterday's game at the final minutes?
I was not calm. I was very excited, anxious, concerned. I try to stay calm, but inside, well, I'm not calm. Believe me, I was really, as I say, I guess anxious would be the best way to describe it yesterday through the latter stages of the game in particular.
Hi, Coach. C.J. Osman from Merrow. Now that Lorenzo Neal is out, do you plan on bringing in another player?
We'll probably we're going to do something. We haven't decided yet what we're going to do. We spent some time today talking about the alternatives, as what way we might go, and we've got 2 or 3 different possibilities. But we're going to have to bring somebody on the roster to take his place. Just who it's going to be and where we're going to get him from, we're not quite sure yet. But we'll know something here in the next day or two, and it'll be announced publicly.
Coach, Greg Sophia in Gaines, Louisiana. Oh, wait, how did you feel when you went into the Georgia Dome on Sunday?
Well, I was real excited about going back and a little bit nervous going in because I knew everybody there associated with the Falcon organization, and I knew what to expect, and I knew that the Falcons were going to play a 60-minute ball game. They're going to come at you the whole time. So I was a little bit nervous, but very anxious to go out and play against them.
Hi, Coach. My name is Adam Jones from New Orleans. Why does Horton Anderson wears 2 different pairs of shoes?
Oh, you mean like on different ones on each foot?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean? Because the one he kicks with is a special kicking shoe, and he needs that to be the kind of kicker that he is. The other one, he doesn't worry too much about what kind of shoe it is. That's why. One's a special kicking shoe. That's a good question.
All right, that's all the time we have. Thanks a lot, studio audience, for the questions. Now it's time to find ourselves a winner. Michael Hebert's giving away a pick. Still celebrating the big win. Welcome back to the show. Time now for What I Say. This week, our Jim Gallagher talks Saints football with a local celebrity and a national television star.
We caught up this week with New Orleans native and PGA golfer Kelly Gibson. Kelly's having a great rookie year on the tour, and he's always got time for his favorite team. You've seen a lot of these guys play golf. Who's the best pro football player, golfer, that you've ever seen?
The best pro football player, I'd have to say Lawrence Taylor is probably the best that I've seen. Some of those other guys, I've played with Tommy Barnhart a little bit. I've seen Morton Anderson play.
I know they're not the best pro golfers.
No, not the best, but they're pretty good.
You come in with a little different perspective being a professional athlete yourself.
I do. I sit here and I'm amazed that they can kick a football goal through these goalposts, because I know if I had 80,000 people screaming at me, it'd be hard for me to knock a wedge through them.
We also ran into soap opera star Andy Kavovit of As the World Turns fame, and he told us he loves the NFL experience. Big Saints fan, Andy?
Not a big Saints fan, but I like the Saints. Yeah, I mean, I like New Orleans overall, so I got to take the Saints with them.
From New York.
I won't tell you what team I like. I like their attitude, the Saints. They're a tough team, physical team, and fun to watch. A lot of good players.
Jim's a very handsome man. You think maybe he might be a soap opera star someday?
He could be. We'll have to get him an audition for the show.
Jim Mora, soap opera star.
Jim is shaking his head over here.
I don't
see
have
that in your
I
future?
hope I don't have to resort to that.
I hope you'll be around here for a long time. This season, Jim, we're giving away a couple of tickets. Tickets for you and your guests to a Saints home game. We've got a contest going in conjunction with Dodge, Saints Digest, and WVUE Sports, where you can win the game tickets and maybe even a Dodge truck. The following winners get a pair of tickets to this week's Saints-Lions game in the Superdome. They are Clifford Amadori from Gretna, Stanley LaGrange from Mandeville, Don Bourne from Gramercy, and Dorothy Davis from LaPlace. Congratulations. I hope you guys enjoy the game. Jim, let's look ahead right now. Next week, back at home here, hosting the unbeaten Detroit Lions, who bring in, as we know, Pat Swilling.
Well, you know, they're playing awfully well now, Lionel. They've had 2 good wins and beat the heck out of Atlanta 2 weeks ago. I mean, dominated them from start to finish. And then had a close game last week with New England. Probably had a little bit of a letdown after the Atlanta win. And yet they're going to come in here excited, knowing that this is an important game for them. We know it's an important game for us. It's an NFC game. You know, one of these teams is going to stay unbeaten. The other team's going to have a loss. And Pat, you know, Pat's going to be excited. He didn't leave here with a lot of good things to say about me in particular. And I think he's going to, you know, want to play well here in front of the fans and his old team. So we're going to have to play our best to beat these guys.
You don't see any letdowns coming on Sunday?
None whatsoever.
All right, let's take a look at what the Lions did on Sunday against the Patriots and also talk with Lions head coach Wayne Fontes. The Lions had some trouble with the New England Patriots. Drew Bledsoe hit Vincent Brisby with 12 seconds left. It was going overtime, tied at 16. That's when the Lions pulled it out. Jason Hansen hit his 4th field goal of the day. Lions win 19-16. Earlier today, we talked with Detroit head coach Wayne Fontes via satellite. Wayne, first of all, thanks for being with us on the Jim Mora Show tonight.
You're welcome, Lionel.
All right, your team is 2-0. The Saints are 2-0, Wayne. You beat the Falcons and the Patriots. What do you like about your team so far, and what do you think you guys need to do better?
Well, the thing I like about this football team is it's a team that right now they don't give up. They play extremely hard. I like the enthusiasm this football team has, and right now they're playing extremely well. The thing we have to do, Lionel, is we have to keep on getting better. We're a long ways from where the New Orleans Saints are right now. They're a great football team. I'm not just saying this. Jim will probably laugh, but they're a fine football team, and the thing we have to do is get to their caliber of play.
Wayne, they've got a new quarterback, Wade Wilson. Yesterday against the Falcons, he set a team record with 392 total yards. What are your impressions of Wade Wilson, what he's brought to the Saints offense?
I think he brings a lot of class with him. He's the type of quarterback. He's a veteran quarterback. He taps the players on the hind end when they do something well. He jumps up and down. I think he's a fine quarterback. He brings the accuracy that most teams would like to have, and he brings the knowledge to the game. I think he does a fine job with them, and he's a great acquisition for the New Orleans Saints.
He's also got some speed and some agility. He can run the ball. He scrambled for a bunch of yards against the Falcons as well. I guess that poses another problem for the defense.
It really does. You know, we used to play against Wade when he was at the Minnesota Vikings, and whenever we prepared against, we always said, my God, we must contain this quarterback. He can beat you running. He'll make the big play to win the football game. So the thing we have to do is make sure we contain him, put some pressure on him, and cover it well downfield.
Wayne, Pat Swilling is on your team now. The Saints have replaced him at linebacker with Ronaldo Turnbull. He made a couple of big plays against the Falcons. What kind of player do you think he'll be, and do you think the Saints' defense will be any less effective without Swilling?
Well, our problem right now, any defense would be, I think, would hurt just a little bit because of the lack of a Pat Swilling. But Turnbull, he's a great outside pass rusher, probably in a Pro Bowl one day soon. Maybe this year he's playing that well. The Saints have a fine defense. The thing we have to do is try to block him. Lomas Brown is still doubtful for the football game. Our best offensive tackle. So the thing we have to do is find ways to block the great rushes that the Saints have.
Wayne, in 2 games, the Saints have scored 67 points. The Lions as well with Barry Sanders. You guys can put up the points as well. Do you expect a different sort of game? In the past, usually the Saints won on defense. Looks like they're scoring a lot more points this year so far, though.
Again, they're a great football team. And with the addition of Wade Wilson, they're passing the ball a lot better. Again, they're one of the best defense I've ever seen. So it's going to be a good football game. The team that wins will be the team that makes the fewest amount of mistakes. And if we do that, we have a chance. Again, we're playing one of the best teams in the National Football League, and that's you guys.
Wayne, do you have any messages for Coach Jim Mora?
No, I wouldn't hope Mora would give me some messages. He's done a fine job there. One of the better coaches in the National Football League. I've known Jim a long time, and it seems like whatever he touches turns to gold. And I admire the man. The man's done a great job with his football team, and the fans should appreciate how well he's coached there since he's been there.
Is this man your agent, Jim?
Hey, he's like all of us, full of baloney, you know. Blowing smoke. Trying to get our guys, you know, overconfident and all that kind of stuff, and try to fire his guys up. He probably shows that tape to his team and knows that all of our players are watching it tonight, and coaches, and they're thinking, hey, we're pretty good, you know, and all this kind of stuff. Shoot, he's setting us up, you know, trying to anyway.
See what happens next Sunday in the Dome when you match up with the Lions.
We're too smart to fall for that.
I know. That's what the Glanville tried to do it last week. Didn't work. Now, Jim, when you kick off this week, besides the team captains, there will be a new face walking to the center of the Superdome, and that's our Hibernia Junior Captain of the Week. This week, David Morrell, a 10-year-old from Gretna, will join the Saints captains to assist in the coin toss. I bet that'll be a moment he'll cherish the rest of his life out there on the field with the Saints. Now, we've got to take one more break, but stay with us. More about the Lions game from the Grand Casino when we come back.
Coach, I'm glad you're having more fun with us this year. Could it be the 2 wins?
Ron, that always has an effect on my attitude and how you and I get along. And you're, and you know what? I got to say, Ron, your questions are a heck of a lot smarter and more intelligent this year than they have been in the past. And, maybe Rich is maybe having Rich up there is a good influence on you, Ron. I don't know.
We're trying to keep him loose.
All right, good.
All right, thanks, guys. Coming up next now, it's Monday. Good luck to you against the Lions. Thanks for coming down. That'll do it for this week. Of course, we'll be back next Monday with the Saints-Lions story. Hope to see you then. Until then, have a good night and a good week.
Tonight's Jim Mora Show has been brought to you by the Dodge Dealers Association, Hibernia National Bank, Louisiana Gas Services Company, and by Rallies. Our